Signs out there would confuse everyone.
Well, I think you're kind of thinking of the average,
Oh, okay.
kind of a system-wide average,
Okay.
which is a fairly powerful number, I think.
Another powerful number impressed us is the notion that 20% of the cost is subsidized by fares, that alone, and the tied it to payroll taxes, which probably most of the public doesn't fully understand.
So it's basically information out there in some clever way of
And also kind of showing off the great things that TriMet is doing, such as security improvement, what they're doing to improve the fare system.
Well, we just had this discussion in the finance meeting this morning, committee meeting about, how do you get some of the messages across the good things versus everything we're all hearing. And so that may be a simple way of writing every day to get some information. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, and now Mark Lewis is going to present our service and scheduling and planning topic.
As I stated earlier, this is my final year on the committee, and it is regrettable that I will not be on the committee next year. But I have been impressed with not only the philosophical approach that TriMet takes, but also the way in which these values are put into practice. I joined the committee as a TriMet writer on the Blue Line from Hillsborough to First and Oak Street on a daily basis. When joining, I had no idea of all that happens behind the scenes to ensure that TriMet writers have a good experience and that the TriMet is being effective stewards of the public dollar. TriMet General Manager Fred Hansen established a basis for agency-focused service investments and introduced the concept of the total transit system to its customers. The total transit system includes all elements of the customer's experience, including customer information, access to stops, amenities at the stops, quality and cleanliness of the vehicle, as well as travel time. TriMet's approach is to partner and work with local jurisdictions and always be open to public input. The Service and Planning Department uses ridership data to evaluate service and to make investment decisions. Data is collected through the bus dispatch system and the automatic passenger counters. Most buses have equipment which records the number of riders getting on and off at each stop and each trip. The information is collected daily and aggregated into quarterly performance reports for service delivery and ridership. The ridership data is analyzed to find out where and when ridership is low, which could result in service adjustments to better match service levels with ridership. Likewise, high ridership times and areas indicate potential demand for improved service levels. The bus dispatch system also records on real-time performance and travel time so schedules can be adjusted to reflect real-world conditions. The fiscal year 2010 budget is slated to cut low-performing lines and reduce the upcoming Green Line service from previous plans. Preliminary primarily due to payroll tax and revenue declines. The many factors that go into service reduction include the effectiveness of service measured by boardings per hour, alternative service availability, equity, and efficiency. Preliminary proposals are discussed with the public via community workshops, and customer service staff ride several of the effective lines to inform riders of the proposed changes. Public hearings are also held in the spring before a final decision is made regarding service reduction. Our committee understands the fiscal realities of the current recession, which have led to the necessity to cut service. We recommend that TriMet continue to reach out to the community and to not overlook lower-income neighborhood bus lines where riderships rely on bus service to get to and around for basic necessities. Service reductions can be particularly devastating on lower-income, aging individuals, as well as those with disabilities. Our committee acknowledges that TriMet goes to great lengths to include the public in the decision-making process, and we encourage TriMet to continue this outreach as further reductions may be necessary. Our committee was pleased that recent proposals for line elimination were altered after TriMet went through this process and heard from the public. We also understand that additional service cuts may be required. The committee recommends reviewing options such as increasing bus departure intervals coupled with the increasing distance between stops where reasonable. These services could be determined through TriMet's existing data collection system. In September 2008, TriMet announced increased security measures, including additional transit police, security cameras, and fare enforcement. In the area of fare enforcement, the number of field supervisors combined with the fare inspectors doubled the number of staff dedicated to fare enforcement from 15 to 30. This increase in staff increases the likelihood that a rider has a required fare. Also, TriMet has moved to increase the number of transit police to 58 during fiscal year 2009, doubling the officers working from the beginning of fiscal year 2008. In the area of transit equity, the outlying areas are paying the majority of the payroll taxes to fund Fairless Square, while they have to suffer from reductions on the bus lines. If indeed TriMet is to maintain transit equity, it is only just that Fairless Square face some reductions as well. Our committee is split on this issue of total elimination of Fairless Square. We have to mention that. And equally, our recommendation is that Fairless Square be limited to train only. We feel like better fare enforcement, continued public engagement, and well-communicated performance metrics could offset some of the negative impact of limiting Fairless Square. A more engaged public is going to understand the constraints and the costs of running a highly effective public transit system. Are there any questions?
The end of your presentation kind of got to me because I've been one that has been against Fairless Square since its inception. But it's a very difficult. I also attended the meetings when we attempted to make some changes, and it's going to be a very difficult thing. But I did yesterday when I was at the meeting. I had someone come up to me and mention he lives downtown. And one of the things that Fairless Square does is that because it's there, a lot of the elderly and disabled, because I serve on the Committee for Accessible Transportation as well, have moved into that area simply because it gives them an opportunity to get around. And so limiting it to just Max or a streetcar would be kind of a disservice to them. But what he did mention is, hey, why not have them pay $25 to get a pass to ride, for the month or for 2 months, and then everybody else pay the regular fare. So there's some other options out there, and I just wanted to, what do you think of? I know you're not trying to set policy, but just some ideas.
Well, our thought process, we didn't look at all the alternatives that would be possible for the elimination of Fairless Square, and that is definitely one of the alternatives. But we just wanted to, from our perspective, from a budget perspective, from the current situation that TriMet is facing, we wanted to say that that really has to be on the table to have that discussion again. That in order to continue supplying the service that TriMet does, and you're looking at service elimination in other areas, that really TriMet should put everything on the table in terms of looking at the reduction of the elimination of fares.
I'd just like to say for the record, with my time on this board, the one thing we have definitely done is try and get the ridership up, and this is one of the hardest things that I have had to be a part of on this board, as far as reduction in service, and it just hurts. I mean, it's something you take home with you.
It's definitely one of the topics that I think, since I've been involved, I've heard the most about from other people, because people are so personally connected to their bus lines. When you talk about reducing a line, they're like, no, I can't believe you're taking away my bus line.
That's it.
So,
you must have been at the meeting
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for your service, Mark. It was great to have you out here, and I haven't had that much opportunity. A couple of questions for you. And incidentally, I'm for Fairless Square, and I'm glad to see your committee split. Because I'm an advocate of keeping Fairless Square. There's more numbers but I'm glad to get feedback on that all the time. On security measures,